Sure, thank you, Chair, and it's a pleasure to be here as ever. So I'll just unpack a few points from the report, and then we can go to questions. So obviously, since I was last here in June, we've had a change of government in Westminster. Our approach remains the same, though we are a UK-based organisation as committed to serving the people of Northern Ireland as England, Wales or Scotland. We do that in two ways, by working with PSNI to tackle organised crime in Northern Ireland, and by working outside Northern Ireland on crime that will impact in Northern Ireland. It was a real pleasure to welcome you and Trevor, Les, Cheryl, Tommy as well to Spring Gardens, to the headquarters of the National Crime Agency a couple of months ago, and to allow us the chance to tell you a bit more about what the agency does. That feels like a pretty much annual occurrence now, so look forward to having members again next time. You are always welcome. In terms of our performance over the last 6 months, you'll have seen in the report that our disruptions in or related to Northern Ireland have increased by 25%. I think that's a bit of a blip, frankly, just of the way the figures have laid down. We have seen a steady increase over a number of years. I think 25% is a bit of an outlier, but it's really good to see. And what we can also see within those figures is evidence of the switch that we have been trying to do in our work to the most high-impact disruptions, the most serious criminals. The actions we can take that is going to have the biggest impact on communities right across the UK, including here in Northern Ireland. And that's evidenced by the bigger increase we've seen in major and moderate disruptions versus minor disruptions. So that's been really, really good to see. Just to explain what a few of them are. So in terms of drugs, and you and the Chief Constable have both alluded to the challenges that poses on our streets in the UK. We've referred to two particular sets of arrests and seizures that we've had over the last 6 months. Those are part of a broader investigation. That investigation continues and is an important one. We also pull out in the report the arrest of an Irish woman at Belfast Airport for bringing cannabis into Northern Ireland. And I just wanted to dwell on that because that is a trend we have seen really strongly across the whole of the UK, and speaking to European partners in Europe as well, which is a really significant increase in people bringing cannabis just in their luggage into airports, and sometimes like their entire luggage is full of just cannabis. That's posing a real challenge for us in dealing with all of those individuals, but it is many a week that we are now arresting. So we're seeing that in Northern Ireland, but we're seeing it right across the UK as well. And you referred, Chair, to an investigation that we concluded last week. This is the biggest ever detected drug conspiracy in the UK, and it was the culmination of the longest ever criminal trial in the UK. And we've managed to identify that the individuals involved smuggled over 50 tonnes of drugs into the UK that was worth at least £7 billion. So it's quite hard to pin down the exact proportion, but that could be up to 10% of the drugs coming into the UK through this one individual gang. It was a many-year long investigation and then an incredibly long trial, but very pleasing to have seen that brought to a conclusion, and I'm sure we'll get some very, very hefty sentences for those individuals. As you said, Chair, the drugs have gone all over the UK, and absolutely some of those will have come to Northern Ireland as well. These criminals obviously respect no borders, be they county or international. A cyber investigation I wanted to bring to your attention as well, and this is actually one that was led by the brilliant officers in PSNI, but that we worked very closely with, was into a Northern Irish individual who was a key player in a DDoS, distributed denial of services, kind of cyber attack service that he offered online on a website called Digital Stress. That was arrested in, I think it was June or July, in an investigation led by PSNI. But we worked really closely and supported PSNI on this. And what we did in addition was we took over the website that he was using to sell to criminals all around the world the ability to launch DDoS attacks for a period of time, moved that onto basically our infrastructure so that we could see all the criminals who are accessing that information. So PSNI did brilliant work to effect the arrest. We have then gone upstream effectively from that to identify all the people that are working with that criminal, and that's with the FBI as well. And that is partly so we can identify them and try and investigate them in the various jurisdictions they are around the world, and it is partly to set throughout the cyber criminal world an expectation that if they are doing this activity, there is a good chance that we are onto them. So we want to undermine their confidence in being able to operate safely online. We want to increase the confidence of law-abiding people to work online, undermine the confidence of criminals. So we sent all of those people a message saying, we are watching, is it worth it? The Chief Constable also mentioned the extraordinary case of sexual exploitation online by McCartney. And again, an absolutely fantastic bit of work by PSNI to investigate a hugely complex international case and bring it to a conclusion. We've worked really closely with PSNI on this, supporting, as we do with lots of major investigations, particularly in this area, but we've supported on advice on how to do the suspect interview, on how to do victim interviews, on the digital media analysis and victim identification, on the family liaison, and we supported the PSNI being able to approach and speak with the Thomas family in the States, the sad suicide victim over there. So it's a really important case. It's gathered a lot of headlines. It is not, however, unique. This is some of the criminality that we are dealing with right across the UK and internationally. There'll be lessons from this case, but overall I think a really strong bit of work done by PSNI that we were very pleased to support. On the issue of child sexual exploitation as well, we are the organisation, and we've spoken about this here before, that receives the reports from the National Centre of Missing and Exploited Children in the States that come in from all the tech companies. Those reports have gone up very significantly in the last 18 months, last year up 63%. This is partly because we are actually seeing more criminality taking place online. It is partly because some companies are getting better at reporting it, and it is partly because some companies have reduced the resources they are putting into triaging those reports before they come to us. That has produced an enormous increase in demand on us, and demand that will then flow through to forces right around the UK, including in PSNI. We have therefore got a backlog in those referrals that we are sitting on. We have stabilised that backlog to the massively increased numbers that are coming in, and working our way through that. So there will be more reports coming to PSNI to deal with over the next year, which is worth everyone being aware of. But in the last 6 months, we put 324 referrals into PSNI, which have led to 51 arrests and 61 safeguards. The final 2 points I wanted to mention, civil recovery work that we are doing with the Paramilitary Crime Task Force, onto organised criminality with paramilitary links. We've got 2 very active investigations into that at the moment, one into the North Antrim UDA, one links with the Northwest INLA. Those are progressing and live at the moment, so I can't go into too many details, but that is good work and builds on the disruptions that we've had over the last few years that I've reported on before. And we're also always working up new cases and opportunities to take, and we have 6 cases that we have developed now and will shortly be looking to task. So that work is continuing and positive. We're not tying that purely to paramilitary linked criminality. We've got one currently covert investigation, so I can't go into the details, but it's just purely into an organised crime gang in Northern Ireland and looking at how we can use our civil recovery powers to take money away from them. The final point I was going to mention was around money laundering. And money laundering is the lifeblood of almost all organised crime, with the exception of some of the child sexual abuse. So it always feels one step removed from actual victims, but it is fundamental if we're going to reduce the incentives for crime. And you may have seen in the media in the last 24 hours that we announced a major disruption into two linked organised crime gangs that we've been investigating for some years now, who have been moving billions of pounds and euros and dollars around the world. That is the proceeds of a range of criminality internationally, but with a huge UK nexus to this. And this is, it covers many things, but includes the street cash proceeds from drug crime right around the UK and including Northern Ireland, and also the proceeds of cybercrime, for example, ransomware, which is often in the form of crypto. And so what this group was doing was basically, or two groups, acting like a bank, taking in crypto, swapping it for the cash, and doing that internationally. And we've worked with a range of organisations right across the globe, including the FBI, the Garda in Ireland, authorities in the UAE, to get on top of this group and bust it. And we announced sanctions with the US yesterday. We have made 84 arrests on this case, 71 of them in the UK, one of them in Dublin, and seized about £20 million. So it's a really good blow against organised crime internationally that impacts right across the UK, including here in Northern Ireland. There's my update. Chair, back to you.